Hello, hello. Hi, everybody. Forgive me, I had some technical issues, so I'm running a little behind, but it looks like everything is working now, and we're live over on Insta and on Facebook. Hooray! I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so those of you who are joining me on Facebook can see our fun little presentation here. Maybe. Oh, goodness. Let's see here. Awesome. Okay, I think we've got to go in. We're a little ahead of myself here. All right. Welcome, everyone. Thanks again for your patience and your grace. My name is Kelly. If we haven't met yet, I am super excited that you are sharing space with me today or catching the replay. I am also the creator behind the Wholesome Nomad brand, and I'm one of the co-founders of Team It's Essential. So I partner with Doterra in addition to kind of doing my own thing with the Wholesome Nomad. So I'm super excited because today's topic is really timely, and it's something that I think is weighing on all of us. Even if you're not a mom, you don't have kids, you're not a teacher, this is probably still something that is at least on your radar because things are really weird this year. So the concept of like going back to school just seems different for all of us. You know, I was even kind of cruising the aisles in the Target school supply section and kind of just being hit with this weird sort of sense of nostalgia, but also unknown, even though I'm pretty far removed from the classroom nowadays in this lifestyle. So I just want to honor whatever space you're in, whether you're a teacher, a parent, not a parent, not even closely related to school. It's totally okay if this is weighing on you. And I'm going to give you some tips to kind of make this transition from this sort of like extended spring break that we've had to the back to school season as easy and as healthy for you as possible. So like I said, I'm Kelly. I'm an essential oil specialist. I've been using essential oils and teaching others to do the same for about 6 years now. I'm also a radical self-care coach and a women's health tour guide. I'm a full-time traveler and I am an educator. So before hitting the road and becoming a nomad, I was a teacher. I have a bachelor's and a master's degree, both of them in elementary education. So that's kind of my sweet spot. I spent about 10 years in the classroom setting, and I also did some preschool education and homeschooling as well as a nanny before that. So lots of experience in education. It actually was the thing I wanted to be when I grew up. You know, when you're really little and everyone asks you and everyone says they want to be an astronaut or a princess or a dinosaur hunter or whatever, it was always teacher for me. I can actually remember the day I decided to be a teacher. I was sitting in my second grade classroom looking at my teacher at the time, who was also my teacher for first grade. He was incredible. And I remember just thinking, okay, this is what I want to do forever for the rest of my life. So it's very near and dear to my heart, the whole concept of education and our children for sure, even though I don't have kids of my own. It's still something I'm deeply passionate about. So I'm super thrilled to bring this to you today. All that to say as well, if you have questions as we talk or, you know, later on after you've watched this replay, please feel free to reach out, whether it's homeschooling questions or questions about how to like navigate this as a teacher or a parent or someone who's not connected to the education system at all. I'm here for you, and I would be more than happy to share with you what I know and my thoughts and opinions, and we can have a fun dialogue about that. So I kind of wanted to open with this interesting quote that I saw online, and I wish I knew who said it because I would give them credit. But it really made me think. And it says, what if instead of falling behind, students during COVID, so students right now in this particular time are actually ahead of the game? I think we're very quick to just assume that, oh, okay, well, with lockdown and with not having normal school and all these things, these kids are like, oh, they're so behind. And there's a lot of freak out happening in the media, especially is what I'm picking up on, that like they're not going to be able to pass these standardized tests. And oh my gosh, now their lives are ruined. And, you know, they've become non-productive members of society. And while I think there's a lot of fear mongering that's going on behind that, I think it's also an opportunity for us to see this instead as kind of a really neat gift. You know, what if this particular year, you know, this season of students is actually ahead of the game because they've had more time to work on other things at home that maybe, you know, we don't really necessarily think about when we're in the daily grind of school. So if you're a teacher or you're a parent, that's something that I encourage you to ponder, because when we can kind of switch that mindset, it's, you know, so much of how our health and wellness is when we show up in the world is related to our mindset. we can shift that a little bit. And I think that will really help us as we kind of make this transition. Okay, so immune support 101. I probably don't need to tell you this, but if you're anything like me, COVID has you a little discombobulated, and it's good to kind of go back to basics. So we know this to be true. There are 5 main areas of our immune system, right? And so these are the 5 areas that we're going to want to be trying as best we can to focus on. I know it feels like a lot, but I'm going to give you some actionable steps and habits that you can start implementing to kind of hit all 5 of these. So those 5 areas for your total immune health are going to be nutrition, exercise, sleep, mental health, and toxic load. And I know a lot of you are probably thinking, well, duh, this makes sense. I know all this to be true. However, we know that especially during this particular season, this year, it seems really hard for me even, and I don't have kids and I'm not working in a traditional school building, right? It seems hard to get all of this done, to fit it all in. So if you are struggling with your immune health and you're like kind of worried about it because there's a lot going on right now and you're wanting to just try to zero in, I would focus on the 2 areas from this list of 5 that you feel like you can make actionable change in today. Normally, I tell people to choose the 2 or 3 areas in their life that need the biggest amount of growth, right? Like if you're sleeping 2 hours a night, maybe that needs to be something that you work on right away. However, I think there's a case for this particular time period that we're in to actually instead really focus on the areas where we can see change immediately, because what that will help you do is build the confidence and the time and the energy to then focus on these other areas that maybe need a lot more work. So maybe for you, the 2 areas on here that you're like, okay, if I really focused on it for the next 2 weeks, I could make a big dent in my exercise routine and in my mental health. I know that I could do that because I already know what to do there. I maybe just need a little accountability. Maybe you need a coach. Maybe you need a program. Maybe you just need to tell yourself that you're going to do it and put it on a sticky note, right? So pick 2 areas. If 5 seems like a lot, pick those 2 that you feel like you can make the biggest headway in right away. Because unfortunately, we can't all walk around in a bubble, even though that would be awesome. We can't do that. And I know you're all out there wearing your masks and washing your hands and doing the things that you can do to protect yourselves and others. But the other thing we can do just happens right in our home and in the bodies that we get to inhabit in this trip around in our lifetime. And those are those 5 areas. So again, nutrition, exercise, sleep, mental health, and toxic load. So everything we're going to go over today kind of encompasses these 5 areas. I'm sure there are many other little tendrils of the immune system that we could dive into, but again, I'm trying to keep this simplified for you so that it seems like an actionable thing that you can actually do and not like this big elephant that you just can't eat, all at once before school starts. And many of you have even started school already. So here are some things, and I kind of broke this up into like things to do at home and things to do at school. So take from this what you will. At home meaning, what can you do now if you haven't started school? What can you continue to do at home if your kids have started school to kind of cultivate a really good environment? What to do at home if you're homeschooling, right? Or what to do at home if you're not a teacher and you don't have kids, but you're just wanting to be healthy in this sort of season as we transition back in, right? Because oftentimes back to school season also means cold and flu season. We know that the flu thrives in some of those cooler temperatures. And also it makes sense if you think about it, we go from summer, and I would argue we've had like the longest spring break in the history of ever, right? We've been out of school and into this different kind of routine and pattern of life since March. So if you think about it, we go from playing in the sunshine, eating, more fresh fruits and vegetables, sleeping as much as we want, especially our kids, having a little bit more freedom to relax and exercise. We're getting that vitamin D from the sun. We're doing all these great things for our body. And we go from that since March, and we're in August now, to sitting under fluorescent lights all day, covering ourselves with a mask for 8 hours a day, right? Which this is not a conversation on mask wearing and all that stuff, but we know that that's a long time to not be breathing in fresh air. We're probably not going to get outside as much. It gets colder, so getting exercise is probably like something that we don't love to do as much. I personally hate working out in the cold, so I totally get it. Maybe we are eating more processed foods because it's convenient. Let's be real. We're probably also leaning more on like sugar and caffeine because we're not sleeping. We're stressed out, right? There's lots of transition. So it makes sense that our immune systems would be compromised and we would have things like cold and flu season pop up in addition to COVID that we're dealing with right now, right? So what we're going to try to cultivate is these little bubbles, these little environments where we can control what we can control. So at home, here's what I always teach people to do. And honestly, you could take any of this to the office, to your, wherever you work. as well. But we're going to think about stacking those healthy habits. So think about crafting simple routines for yourself. And again, if you need more like actionable help with this, please reach out and I'd be happy to hop on a quick little strategy session call with you. So we're going to stack those healthy habits, meaning if you already have a healthy habit in place of like brushing your teeth every morning, maybe you put your vitamins that you know you need to take right by your toothbrush. And that is the trigger that reminds you, okay, well, when I brush my teeth, I also take my vitamins. Maybe you are really great at going for a walk every single day. So right by the door next to your dog's leash, you also stick, an essential oil that you've been wanting to incorporate more. Or you have a little sticky note on the door that says, drink your water before you go for a run, whatever that might be. Stacking new habits on top of existing ones helps you be far more successful. I've seen this work time and time again. And I know it sounds maybe kind of silly, but I promise you it works. So maybe write out a list of the healthy routines or just the routines in general, even if they're not super healthy, that you do every single day, kind of on autopilot, right? Like for me, I stumble out of bed. I do my little like gratitude practice. I turn the diffuser on because I set it the night before and I go to make a cup of coffee. So if I'm trying to integrate a new routine, I always put it by the coffee pot because that's the first thing I do in the morning. Yes, even before brushing my teeth, which I know is bad, but it is what it is, right? So stack those healthy routines and healthy habits, especially the new ones you want to make and cement so that you're going to be more successful. The other thing you can do is get some outside time every day, even if it gets cold. I know it's hard. We're here in Michigan still. We're probably going to be here through the end of the year. I'm already cold just thinking about it, even though it's 90 degrees today. But get outside every single day. Maybe it's family walks. Maybe you take a 20-minute family walk outside together after dinner. You're getting up maybe 10 minutes earlier, right? And just taking an easy little walk, or you're just sitting outside and sipping your coffee, even if it's cold. Get all bundled up. If you can get outside and get some vitamin D on your skin without sunscreen in the first, half an hour of your day for just 10 to 15 minutes, that's going to really help with vitamin D production and it'll also help with your mood. So we need to get outside. If you're homeschooling, or if your kids are doing distance learning, or if you're working from home even, right? Set a timer to get up and move and get outside. So I've been working from home now for 3 years. I totally get it. I live in a 200 square foot box. It's very easy for me to sit here in front of the computer for 8 hours a day, right? So I have started setting a timer every 45 minutes, which might sound like a lot, but it's, my job is pretty sedentary. So I set a timer every 45 minutes and I either do 10 squats, I go outside for a quick little 2-minute walk around the neighborhood. I try to do something. I put on a really awesome song and do an outside dance break. Set yourself a timer so that you are getting up, you're moving around, and you're getting outside as much as possible. The other thing you could do is actually write it into your schedule. We say this all the time in business, that success is scheduled, and the same thing is true in life. So if you are a scheduler, I still have a paper schedule, old school, like probably will never break that routine of mine. I literally block it. So today I know that I'm teaching this class at 2:00. So I have a block from 4 to 5 that is my workout time and my outside time. So I'm going to go take the dog on a nice long walk today. And I have that scheduled. So I didn't take calls. I didn't plan anything else for that time in my day. So get it scheduled if that's something that you want to work on. Supplements are going to be huge. I know that there's a lot of controversy and we could go down a whole rabbit hole on the supplement industry in general. It's just not regulated. So make sure that you are doing your own research. Again, I am not a doctor. I'm not giving you medical advice. Please work with your medical team, but know that the supplement industry is just very diluted. So make sure you do your own research and talk to your people who you know, like, and trust. We need to be supplementing, especially this time of year. And if you haven't gone back to school yet, this is the time. Now would be the time, guys, for you to be really amping up your immune system. So you want to be taking a vitamin of some sort. I have my favorites that I'll share with you towards the end here. Elderberry is another great one. Zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin C. At a minimum, those would be the 4 extra that I would have you do on top of a vitamin would be elderberry, zinc, vitamin D, and vitamin C. Of course, your essential oils can also help as well. If you are looking for a kid-friendly, organic, tried and tested vitamin source beyond the vitamins we have at Doterra for your elderberry, zinc, D, and C, I highly recommend checking out Mary Ruth Organics. This is not a sponsored. I just found that company a couple months ago, and I love it. Mary Ruth Organics, and I think they've got some good coupon codes and stuff. They have liquid or chewable versions of all of their vitamins. So I've been using their elderberry liquid. They also have zinc, ionic zinc in a liquid form, so you could give it to your kiddos as well. They've got D in the gummies. So if you can't swallow pills, or you struggle with that, or you have kiddos and you know that their supplement game is off, or maybe they're not taking the best kind of supplements, go check it out. Mary Ruth Organics, they're really awesome, a small business, and relatively affordable, in my opinion. Sleep is a huge one. We do all of our recovery when we're sleeping. So if sleep isn't happening, immune health and recovery is going to be really slow to happen. And that's the number one way we can like break into that parasympathetic, that rest and restore nervous system, is through sleep. And you're not going to like my advice here. Make it a priority. I know that it's like, yeah, sure, whatever, Kelly, you don't know. You don't have kids. You're not, working a 9-to-5 job, which you're absolutely right. But making your sleep a priority will absolutely pay huge dividends. And I have been totally guilty of not making sleep a priority in my life for the past 3 years. And because of that, one of the main, issues that I've had in conjunction with not prioritizing sleep has been hormone imbalance, right? And now I actually have been given the diagnosis of Hashimoto's disease. And when working with a medical team, a lot of that is going to be resolved just simply by tapping back into my circadian rhythm and regulating those hormone productions. So make your sleep a priority, get everybody involved. Maybe you need to have the same bedtime as your kids, and maybe that's okay. Maybe bedtime, needs to be something that everybody gets in on so that it doesn't feel like it's stressful. I'm not a sleep expert by any means, or a mom, so you do you, but I can't stress enough how important it is for you to make sleep a priority. Even if it's not a lot of sleep, but if you're getting 5 hours of really great sleep versus 10 hours of broken sleep, I would argue that that's still going to be better for your body. A joy list. So this is actually something I have all my private clients do when we work together, is to create a joy list. And I would love to see more families do this together. I think it's really fun. Oftentimes we kind of get caught up in the hustle and bustle and in the grind, especially back to school. I did this as a teacher. My husband would actually tell me the reason I left school, one of the main reasons, when we hit the road, was because the night before my first day of school, the last year I was teaching, he gave me a kiss and said, "Have a great day tomorrow. I'm going to see you on a break." And honestly, it broke my heart. I know he meant it to be kind of kidding and to make a joke of it, but it was so true, right? I got so engrossed in my job, and I was at school 40 plus hours a week. And then when I came home, I was at school because I was doing more things for school, lesson planning and grading and all the things. And I can imagine as a parent, you're just as busy, right? So making a joy list can really, really help when we're feeling stressed out, because when we're stressed out, our immune system isn't functioning. So when you write out a joy list, even honestly, the activity of writing a joy list can make you feel more joyful. It's crazy. Write out things that bring you joy, and it can be anything. Involve your kids. Ask them that question. I would say as early as like 2 or 3, they could totally answer you. What do you like? What brings you joy? And you're probably going to really giggle at the responses that they get from you. Ask your spouse. Have a family joy list that you can go back to, and maybe you schedule that once a week, on Friday nights for 45 minutes, we're going to pick one thing off of our joy list and we're going to do it together. Or if you don't have a family and it's just you or you and your spouse, that can be a really great activity for you to do too. Kind of keep date night exciting and fun, right? We do that. We have a joy list of things that we kind of go back to time and time again. We've had to sort of revamp it now during COVID, because a lot of the things that we do for joy involve being out and about with other people. So we've had to kind of get creative, but that in and of itself can be really fun. So make yourself a joy list and use it. The other thing is cleaning. We talked about reducing your toxic load to improve immune health. So this is, in my opinion, a non-negotiable. You need to ditch the toxic cleaning chemicals. If there are any toxic cleaning chemicals lingering around in your life, I want you to try to make a goal to get rid of them by the end of this year, okay? If sooner, the better. We really need to go non-toxic. Here's why. The chemicals in our cleaning products, more than any other chemicals, more than your beauty products or the things you might have lingering in your garage, totally disrupt and upset your microbiome. And that is your like individual ecosystem that kind of lives in your guts, your intestines, all that stuff. 90% of your serotonin, that's that happy chemical, and 70% of your immune system is housed in your gut. So if our microbiomes are off, our immune systems are off, our serotonin levels are off, it's just not going to be great. Also, make sure that if you're trying to go non-toxic, yay you, I'm so excited for you. If you're going to go non-toxic, read your labels and be very hyper aware of this greenwashing thing that is happening. So because it's not regulated, just like the vitamin industry, just like the essential oil industry, because the green cleaning industry isn't regulated, companies can literally slap a label on there that says green cleaner or organic cleaner or all natural, whatever, and it doesn't actually fit any of those adjectives. So read your labels. If you're confused, which I totally was when I began, reach out to someone who you know has already gone non-toxic, that you know, like, and trust. You can also go to EWG, that's Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. Type in the name of any cleaner out there, Lysol, Pine Sol, whatever. I can't even think of the other ones now, soft scrub. And it will come up with a rating scale for you on a scale of 1 to 10 of how toxic or how clean it is. And you want to try to get, of course, as low a number as possible. Honestly, bare minimum, you can totally make your own non-toxic cleaning products, even without essential oils. And you all know I love cleaning with my essential oils here, but you don't even need essential oils to do it. Get yourself some vinegar, some Castile soap, and some baking soda. And you can totally clean your house just with those 3 ingredients. Maybe a lemon, like an actual lemon, if you don't want to purchase lemon essential oil. If you have more questions about green cleaning, you can totally look at my social media feeds and also my blog. I've got lots of recipes up there. So do a lot of other people. Yes, absolutely. You can. Thank you, Saritza, for mentioning that. You can download the app, the EWG app, and you can totally scan the back of the barcodes of your products at the store. They have beauty products and green cleaning products in there. But I would suggest that you make your own if you can, because that's going to be like the ultimate non-toxic way to go. It's also really, really cheap and super easy. Once you do it, you won't go back. I've not purchased a cleaning product in my home in over 6 years. It has saved us so much money I can't even imagine, not to mention protected our immune health, our skin, our respiratory system, all the things. Okay. At school, what are some things we can do? So make sure that you're washing or replacing your masks daily. There's this thing that I keep seeing people do where they're using the little disposable masks or the cloth masks. They're wearing them all day. Then they take them off, they stick them in their purse, and they put them back on the next day, right? Totally normal. I've done it too. So I get it. No judgment or shame here. However, if we're to assume that the masks are working the way that they say that they're supposed to be working, and we're getting little particulates onto the mask, you transferring it into your purse and then putting it right back on your face is not going to really help you, right? You're just going to be transferring all those particulates of lots of creep and crud back into your mouth, right? Or onto your purse. And then you touch your keys or your essential oil bottle or your phone. That's a big one. This is a side note. If you're out and about, please don't take your phone out. Leave it in the car or put it in your purse and zip it up, and don't touch it till you get back in the car and you have sanitized your hands. This is a big one. I'm seeing all these people walking around grocery stores with masks and gloves on, and they're on their phone. Makes no sense to me. Watch your phone. But yes, wash or replace masks daily, especially for your kiddos. I meant to get my mask so I could show you this, but you and I both know, even if you don't have kids, the mask situation in schools is going to be interesting. It's going to become a slingshot. It's going to become a tissue that they just blow their nose in. Someone is going to cry because they have a My Little Pony mask and they wanted a Spider-Man mask. So I love you, teachers. All of my love and light to you, because that's going to be something very interesting to deal with. Make sure that you're telling the parents as well to make sure that they're washing and replacing their masks daily, because that's not really something that I've seen in any of the guidelines from the CDC or school districts. Unless I'm missing it, maybe your district is different than the ones that I've been following. Healthy lunches. So you as a parent or you as an adult for yourself, you set the tone for how lunches go. So if you're leaning on processed foods and things like that, that's naturally what your kids are going to want to eat. You get to choose the tone and you're the one crafting the lunch. If you have older kids, I would totally get them involved. Maybe Sunday nights, you meal prep 2 or 3 lunches in advance, right? If you can find things that'll keep for that long. Or you take 20 minutes together as a family the night before, so the burden is less on you and you get your kids more involved in what they're eating. Stick with whole organic foods. Again, my opinion, this is another non-negotiable. You need to be feeding ourselves, the population, as much as we can to whole organic foods, plant-based as much as possible. Avoid sugars and processed foods. I personally would stick an On Guard mist in your lunchbox, whether it's you for your personal lunchbox or your kids. Stick a little On Guard hand sanitizing mist in there and get the kids or yourself in the habit of misting their hands before they eat. I know that a lot of schools are probably going to be doing lunches in school, like in the classroom. So I'm sure they'll have the chemical hand sanitizer as well. I would ask your kids to just make sure they're On Guard misting on top of that. The sanitizers that we see a lot, the like gel-based Purell kind of hand sanitizers, actually end up killing all the bacteria, even the good ones, which isn't super great. So the more we can get our kids to use essential oils and things that are also going to protect the immune system, the better off we're going to be. You can't always avoid the gel hand sanitizer, and that's all right, but have them use an additional tool if you can. Non-toxic desk cleaners. So I used a non-toxic desk cleaner in my classroom the last 2 years I taught kindergarten. It was awesome. I literally just used water and On Guard. It was like 10 drops of On Guard with water, and I bought these little tiny, maybe 6-ounce spray bottles, and I would assign 3 kids to be desk cleaners. And every day before as they were packing up to go home, my desk cleaners would walk around with a paper towel and they'd clean the desk and the doorknobs and whatever. I didn't have to worry about them spraying each other in the face with some chemical cleaner or whatever. And I will tell you, the last 2 years of teaching, I did not get as sick as I had in previous years, which as a kindergarten teacher is kind of, that's like par for the course, right? You're just going to grab whatever the kids end up bringing into you. So if you are a parent, maybe you have a conversation with the classroom teacher or with the school, asking about what types of cleaners they're using, and just educate. You know, not everyone's going to be open to it, and that's okay. This is a large part of what I do. You just educate over and over and over again, maybe provide it as a gift, you know, for your teacher to experience, or the janitorial staff, God bless them, they're amazing people, for them to experience in the school to see how it works for them. And if you have home cleaners coming in to clean your home, I would highly recommend that you do the same. Create some non-toxic products for them to use in your home, and maybe even offer it as a gift for them to take and try elsewhere. Because once people try it out and they see how effective they are, it's really hard for them to then go back to those non-toxic cleaners, which is kind of what we want to try to avoid. A classroom diffuser is huge. I diffused all day long, pretty much every day the last 2 years of my teaching career. I would actually let the kids pick. A lot of times I'd have like a diffuser person who could pick like, oh, today we're going to do peppermint and orange, or peppermint and On Guard, or whatever it is. And that was really fun. So if your school is open to it and your teachers are open to it, get a diffuser in there. That'd be really, really great. If you need help talking to people about how to, you know, how to broach that subject, like I would really love it if you had a diffuser in my kids' classroom, please reach out and let me know. I'd be happy to kind of troubleshoot that with you. Push the water. So I would ask, if I was a parent, I would ask your student's teacher, what is the water protocol? I imagine they're not going to be allowed to use water fountains. So just figure out what that is, and then make sure you're providing them with water as well as yourself. I have my water here. I practice what I preach, I promise. Push the water, because that's really going to help our bodies to just naturally flush out all the gunk. Also at school, we can be practicing mindfulness. So if you're a parent, you can teach your kids some of these things at home and have them take that into school, where maybe before they eat lunch, you just get them in the habit of taking a really deep belly breath. You know, I used to have my kindergartners put their hands on their belly and then just breathe into it and see how big they could make their belly, right? You can teach that to a 4-year-old even, or even a 3-year-old probably. Teach them those big belly breathing techniques, that mindfulness. And then if you're a teacher, you can totally integrate this into your curriculum as well. Even if you're doing virtual learning, I highly recommend that you look up some like group yoga or 10-minute mindfulness activities, things like that, that you can do with your students. Again, just to reduce the stress response, because even if you're not in school and they're at home, there's still going to be added stressors, right? We've got mom and dad working from home. We've got little sister who's screaming. We've got all these distractions because I want to go play Legos, and there's a lot. So the more we can integrate those types of wellness and mindfulness tips with our kids, the better off everybody will be. You too, grown-ups. Okay, I'm going to try to fly through these. So here are just a few of my favorite things. For kids, I love the Stronger blend. Again, you would just roll this up and down the spine and on the soles of the feet for added immune health. Thinker, which actually is right here, it lives by my computer all the time, is the Focus blend. And this is actually my personal favorite. It's diluted and safe for kids, but I love it. It's got vetiver in here, clementine. It's super great for focus. And it happens to be 15% off this month for everybody, which is really cool. On Guard beadlet. So On Guard is our protective blend. It's a blend of essential oils that helps to boost and support the immune system. The beadlets are just 3/4 of 1 drop of oil in a tiny little vegetable glycerin sphere. Most kids can just swallow it. I've even had some parents put one in like the little juice or applesauce squeezy packs, and the kids will just take it internally. They won't even know. So that'd be a really great way to get some On Guard into their bodies. And the Breathe Stick. I love this. All these things I love because kids can actually do it themselves. So the Breathe Stick is like an all natural Vicks, and it just kind of twists up like a Flintstones push pop, and they can rub it on their chest when they're stressed out, or if they've got any congestion going on, even if it's just seasonal stuff, you know, roll it up and down their back. You can totally get your kids involved, and they get so excited, right? They love being able to take charge of their health too, and we can start to model those behaviors for them. For Grownups, I love the On Guard soft gels. So the On Guard soft gels have our On Guard blend in them, along with black pepper and Melissa and oregano essential oils. They're heavy hitters for immune support. So if you're working outside the home or you're coming into contact with more grownups than you have been in the past couple months, I would personally start taking these. My husband and I have for about the last 2 or 3 weeks, just because he went back to work, which is good, but he's exposed to a lot more people. So we've been taking these just to really support our immune system once a day. Motivate. I didn't change the title here on this one. Whoops. Motivate is our encouraging blend. I call this like my get it done blend or I don't want to blend. So this one, I literally roll on the back of my neck or the elbow creases when I don't feel like doing the dishes, or I don't feel like working out, or I don't feel like writing that email, or whatever it might be. It's also 15% off in August. We have 3 different oils that are extra discounted this month too, which is cool. Copaiba it works in similar ways to CBD. So it helps to really bring balance to the endocannabinoid system in the body. It just helps us to relax. So it's going to calm that central nervous system. It's also super great for immune health as well. So I recommend Copaiba in all the ways. And Balance is our grounding blend. It says it in the name, right? It's going to help you feel balanced. We all need a little bit more of that, us grown-ups, kids too, for sure. I love this one in the diffuser, especially in the morning. If you're kind of wanting a slow start to your morning, just kind of set the tone and rub down the soles of your feet. It's really nice. Okay. For the family, so we love On Guard throat drops here. I keep a little dish of them by the counter and we eat them like candy. They're sweetened with cane syrup and it's just On Guard essential oil in there. So you don't have to worry about any additives. Really great if you have any kind of scratchy throat, but also just awesome to have the kids take too. They're going to think it's candy and they're getting those added benefits of On Guard. On Guard Mist we talked about. It's 99.9% effective at killing all the germs, just like Purell and all your other hand sanitizers out there. It's alcohol based and it has that On Guard protective blend in there. You're going to need it. I think we have like 10 lying around somewhere between the house and the truck. So I recommend that. In Tune is our focus blend for grownups, but kids can use it as well. It's not diluted, so just make sure you dilute it down a little bit for your kiddos. It's got a really earthy aroma of like patchouli. That's kind of the forward note that I pick up on. There's some orange in there. Really great for helping us just to kind of dial in and focus. So again, the whole family can use that. And that's also additionally 15% off this month. And then DDR Prime is an oil blend that we don't talk about often. And watch this space because my essential oil community members are actually going to be doing a challenge in September with DDR Prime. You're more than welcome to join us, even if you're not in our community. More info to come. It'll be free. A fun little DDR Prime challenge. DDR Prime is our cellular complex. So it's a blend of different essential oils that literally helps to support the cellular health. So you're going to put that on the back of the neck. You could take it internally. It just helps for the healthy maintenance of our cells. And we're all cellular beings, so we need to be doing this. I actually really love this oil as well for kiddos who are working with any kind of special needs, no matter where on the spectrum they might fall as well. It's really great for mental focus and brain fog, mental clarity, things like that. Clearly, I need some DDR Prime. And then last but not least, I have some nutrition ideas here. So I love the supplements at Doterra. I've been taking the Lifelong Vitality System for many years. It's one of those that I don't really notice a huge difference until I stop taking it. And then I'm like, oh man, definitely should have been taking my Lifelong Vitality more consistently. If you're not supplementing and your kids are not supplementing, that would be a really great place where you could move the needle. Again, super easy to start seeing results there, right? Just start taking a vitamin, a supplement. The kids' vitamins are also great. There's a little chewable one. It's watermelon flavored. I want to say like a Flintstone, but it's not even close in terms of like its quality. And then an IQ Mega. Omegas are really important for all of us to be taking, especially kids for focus and brain health. And if they're in that developmental range, ages like 4 to 11, their brain is still working on developing all those neural pathways, right? And we want to make sure we're giving them as many omegas as we can. Terra Greens. So I love a good greens powder. This one's great. There's also a couple others that I love. You can find them on my Amazon wish list. Amazing Grass makes a really good one. I'm all about getting as many greens in as you can. So the Terra Greens are great. It's just literally dehydrated fruits and vegetables grounded to a powder. You can add it to smoothies, put it in your water. That's usually what I do, and I just down it. It does taste green. You're going to have to get used to it, but it's super important for our immune health. And then probiotics, many of you know if you've been hanging out with me for a while, I'm kind of the gut health guru in a way. I like to talk about gut health a lot and poop a lot. I probably spend a solid 75% of my days talking about gut and poop health. But probiotics are really important for immune system as well. Remember, we talked about how 70% of our immune system lives in our gut. So we want to make sure we're giving ourselves good, healthy bacteria, especially for in an environment that is using toxic cleaners that you don't have control over, or you're using a lot of like the hand sanitizers, things like that are messing with our microbiome. We want to add in many good bacteria. So Doterra has one for adults and one for kids. The reason I like Doterra is, and I've taken a lot of different companies, there are some other really good ones out there. I love Doterra the most because there is a pre and a probiotic in it together. So what happens is you take the probiotic and the prebiotic actually kind of goes into your hydrochloric acid, goes into your stomach, which means then the probiotic can actually get into your guts, which is where we really need it. Most probiotics that you buy over the counter are just going to literally go straight through your system, and you're literally going to be flushing out most of your money down the toilet because it's not actually absorbing the way it's supposed to in your system, because it's all kind of dissolving in the acid in your stomach. I could get nerdy and talk to you about gut health all day, but I won't. There is another class up on YouTube for that if you have more questions. So I have some questions for you to ponder. I got lots of messages from a lot of you going, parents especially, I don't know what to do. I don't know if we homeschool, if I should do some sort of a blended model. I've heard that it's differing district to district. And so that's making it even more charged and tense. So what I would do if I were a parent is I would step back and I would ask myself some of these questions. So feel free to just ponder them on Instagram. I'm sorry you don't have them, but maybe I'll make a post of this. Facebook, you can see them here. So feel free to screen capture this. I'll read them really quickly for you on Insta. What is the end goal of your child's education? That right there can answer a lot for you and help you to make sense of all of the chaos. How will their interests influence the curriculum, both at school or at home? If you're designing some sort of a homeschool curriculum or you're wanting to try to choose one, take into account their different interests and how that's going to impact what you're going to choose to do. Where do my current constructs around education come from? This is a big one because it asks us to challenge our own thoughts and feelings behind education. And a lot of us have been brought up in the American school system and it looks a certain way and it's looking very different these days, right? So when we can identify our personal constructs, we can then help to either surrender some of our fears and worries about this new model, or we can find a way to make it work better for our family. Maybe you do decide you want to homeschool or do some sort of a blended model. How can I leverage the gift of extra time to foster curiosity and intentional learning? So again, this pondering this question of like, are they behind, or what if they're just really ahead? You know, so if your kids are only going to school twice a week, I know they are here in Michigan, and you have them home 3 days a week, how can you leverage that extra gift of time to do things like teach the kids how to balance a checkbook, or teach them how to make a grocery budget? You know what I mean? These different types of things, and lean into what they're curious about as well. That'll help you kind of discern where to spend some of your time. Does our learning space at home, again, whether that's for homework or homeschool or virtual learning, encourage focus and creativity? What I've seen a lot of parents doing is trying to be those Pinterest moms and dads where they're looking at a pretty picture of a desk space for kids online and they're trying to recreate it. I will tell you as a teacher, 9 times out of 10, kids aren't even going to notice, right? So can you simplify the space to make it affordable for you, easy for your kiddos, and really to encourage that extra focus and creativity? If your kids are over the age of 4 or 5, I would totally get them involved. Ask them, what would you need in your space to be focused and be able to work? And get them to start thinking about this and invite you to have those conversations so that they can feel a part of their environment. We all know what it was like when we first left home, right? And we went to go make our own space, how exciting that was to like shop and pick out. I remember picking out bath towels, being like, oh my gosh, I get to choose the color of my own bath towels. I went with hot pink and purple, by the way. Back then, 17-year-old Kelly, fresh out the nest, right? So ask yourself what you can do to foster that kind of excitement in your kids too, and create that space. I know a lot of us tend to do things like at the kitchen table or whatever. If you're going to be doing more school at home, you know, your virtual learning or your homeschool learning, I highly recommend you do have a designated workspace so that it's almost like closing your computer, shutting it down at the end of the day, leaving the office, so that you don't feel like as a parent, you have to kind of be in school mode all the time, and neither do your kids, because that's going to be stressful and overwhelming. And lastly, am I taking excellent care of myself so that I can model that for my kids or my students and show up as the best version of me? Oftentimes, for most of us adults, and I know a lot of you here in this space are women, the answer to that is no, right? We simply don't feel like we have the time, the energy, or we just don't know how to even begin. taking excellent care of ourselves. So that can be something to really lean into. And again, if you want to set up a self-care strategy session, I do those for free. Just let me know. I'll post the link below once we finish today. Here's another list for you of some suggested readings. I've got 3 books up here that are great. If you are looking for alternative education, thehomeschoolmom.com has a great blog with tons of resources. Also, I personally have experience teaching, facilitating the K-12 curriculum. K-12 is an online public school. It's tuition free in most districts. You're gonna have to look up for yours in particular, but maybe kind of peek into that if you're as a parent and you're not quite sure what to do. And whether or not there are resources available and things like that. I was a facilitator for K-12 with the students I nannied for 2 years. We had a great experience with it. So that could be a really good place to go if you feel the need to have some sort of a prepared curriculum kind of already done for you. Not necessary though. If you're brand new to Doterra and you're wanting to get started, I kind of put together this fun little kit for you. Again, I'll post it for you later on Instagram, Facebook. Here it is. It's really awesome because I kind of pulled a lot of the things that I think might be really helpful for you, and you could take advantage of those extra discounts. Doterra kind of works like Costco or Sam's Club. So you open up a wholesale customer access and you pay $35 to have your own account. You can order anytime you want. When you go with a kit like this one, for example, you actually get to waive that $35 fee, which is really cool. So if you're ready to get started, let me know. I'd be happy to hop on a quick call with you and we can find out what makes the most sense for you and your family. You'll also get me as your personal guru forever, personal oil fairy guru, and I offer wellness consultations. I'll send you a fun little welcome package with a whole bunch of resources and tools to get ready so that you don't feel super overwhelmed, because that's the last thing I want is for you to get into oils because you feel overwhelmed and then feel overwhelmed and stressed with your essential oils. That is not the goal here. So I'm here to do whatever I can to help you decrease that. Before we finish, I wanted to let you know that I've also opened up some private coaching slots for the next couple of months here. My schedule is booking, but if this is something that is pulling at you, I highly recommend that you schedule a quick little call with me. It's a really awesome opportunity for us to think about what would life be like if you knew that you could get clarity around what's right for you and your family, whether that's for your own self-care or for your homeschool curriculum or whatever that looks like. Have a plan that you can actually stick to. Work yourself first into your schedule and learn how to trust your intuition to make your best right next moves. I promise you that you can, because I did. I figured out how to do it, and now I teach other people to do the same. And I would absolutely be honored to show you how to do so. So let me know. Again, I'm going to drop a link below both of these videos so that you can hop on a quick free 20-minute strategy call with me. I would love to just chat with you about your own needs and kind of what's coming up for you. In addition to this, and I don't have a slide for it, but I am doing some homeschool curriculum consulting. So if you have decided you want to homeschool and you're kind of in that messy middle where you're like, yes, we're homeschooling, now I don't know what the heck to do, please feel free to reach out and I'd be happy to kind of chat with you about what that looks like so that I can help you and your family get going. All right, you all, thank you so much for joining me today. I always have tons of fun on these classes. If you have any questions or if anything came up for you that's of a concern or you want to learn more about, please let me know, drop me a comment or send me a DM. I hope you have an absolutely beautiful rest of your Monday and we'll talk soon. Bye.